You can't afford to be wrong about this. Several years ago, this Alfred Hitchcock Hour was on TV. I don't know if any of you ever watched Alfred Hitchcock. I was in college, and I couldn't sleep, and I turned on the TV one night. They were doing an all-night Alfred Hitchcock marathon. And I remember watching this one episode of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour. It was about a man that had been cruel to people most of his adult life. And in the opening scene, he's being sentenced to prison for killing somebody for the rest of his life. And he shouts out at the judge, "I don't care what prison you put me in, I will escape from it." And the next scene is the long bus ride from freedom to captivity. And as it approaches the prison yard, the man looks out the window of the bus and he sees a little old man in a prison uniform pushing a cart, and he's outside the gate. And he realizes that's the prison undertaker, and they've trusted him with the key to the gate. If I ever want to get out of here, I need to make friends with that guy. And so over the course of the next few months, that's what the man does. And he comes to find out that the man suffers with a condition called cataracts that's going to leave him blind. And so what he says to this old man is, "Listen, I've got money on the outside. And if you can help me escape, I will see to it that you get the money that you need to solve this problem that's going to leave you blind." Well, it took some cajoling, it took some persuasion, but eventually the old man agrees. And they hatch this plan that the bad guy would go down when the next person dies and climb into the casket. And then the old man would take it outside and bury it. And then when he was alone the next day, he would come back out and dig him out and set him free. So a few days go by, and the bells toll, which signify that someone else has died in the prison. And it's late at night, and the man does what he said he was going to do. He slips out of his cell, and he goes down to the prison morgue, but he leaves all the lights off because, of course, he doesn't want to tip anybody off as to what's going on. And he opens the lid of the casket, and he climbs in next to the dead body, and he pulls the lid down tight. And this is when I start asking myself, why am I watching this at 2 o'clock in the morning? But anyway, so he's in the casket. The next thing he feels is the casket being put onto a cart and then being wheeled out the gate, and he starts to smile. And then it's lowered into the ground, and he feels the dirt being shoveled on top of it. And he's got a grin from ear to ear. His freedom is within his grasp. Well, morning comes, and the old man doesn't. And afternoon comes, and he starts to worry. By evening, he fears the worst. Not knowing what to do, feeling like he's short on breath, he strikes a match and illuminates the casket and notices that the face of the corpse is the face of the old man who'd promised to come and get him out of the grave. Listen, that was the smartest guy in the world. He'd calculated everything. He'd planned for every eventuality and every possibility, except he made one critical, fateful mistake. In his effort to get out of the grave, he trusted in someone who was subject to the grave. This is what I would beg of you, to think seriously about this. Before you put your confidence in the afterlife, in anyone or anything, don't expect to live beyond the grave if your firm reliance is placed in someone who themselves are subject to that grave. Why do I put my confidence in Jesus? Because Jesus alone has gone to the other side of death, has taken the keys of death, defeated Satan, sin, and death, and has come back and told me how I can do the same. That is why I put my confidence in Jesus. Do you have that kind of confidence with what you've chosen to believe?